Captain Marvel is just around the corner, and so I'm gonna dive into outer space with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, digging deep into this movie and what it means to have real family. What did you think of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2? Let's talk about that in the comments. Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin, and this is my theological analysis for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. If you haven't seen this film by now, I'm just letting you know there's gonna be some spoilers ahead. I'm excited to dive into this movie. I like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and I'm super excited for Captain Marvel, which is gonna be, I guess, kind of a huge space adventure. So I thought, hey, let's just dive into space with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Did you like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2? Let's talk in the comments.
You are not friends.
You're right. We're family. We leave no one behind.
When you dive into Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, there is a very common theme spread throughout this whole movie. And it's about what real family is and how real family receiving us when all else seems to reject us, how the real love of a real family can bring healing into our lives. This movie deals a lot with brokenness and deals a lot with broken origins. I mean, we got the obvious, where you have Peter Quill, who is feeling like something's missing because he doesn't know his father.
That stuff about my father. Who does she think she is?
I know you're sensitive about that.
I'm not sensitive about it, I just don't know who he is.
And finally, he meets Ego, his father, in this movie, and he's desperate to get to know this guy. He's desperate to throw the ball with his father. He's desperate to have that broken place inside of him filled and repaired and get to know who his father is. But as we're dealing with Peter Quill's family issues, with Ego being his father and Yondu being his daddy, and the difference between the two, we're dealing with the same thing in all these other characters. First, you have Rocket and Yondu, who are absolutely cut from the same cloth.
And you push away anyone who's willing to put up with you, because just a little bit of love reminds you how big and empty that hole inside you actually is.
I said shut up!
Yondu's parents forsook him. They sold him into slavery. What does that do to the psyche of a child?
I know them scientists what made you never gave a rat's ass about you.
I'm serious, dude!
Just like my own damn parents who sold me, the old little baby, into slavery.
And it was the Ravagers that took him in, and it set him free. But he was young, he was dumb, and he started working with Ego and broke the Ravager code, so he was rejected from that family. So he brings Peter Quill, realizes what Ego's doing to the kids, refuses to take Peter Quill there, but because of the brokenness in his own heart, because he once again is rejected from yet another family, can't find it in himself to tell Peter Quill the truth, but instead says, sit down or we're gonna eat you, or we kept you because you're so small, so you can, good for thieving, you can break in all the little areas and stuff like that. And so he can't even get the truth out because he himself is a broken person. But even though he didn't do that part right, he said he wanted to do this one thing right, and he gave his life to save his son. And greater love has no one than this, to lay their life down for their friends. He did the most fatherly thing for Quill and gave his life to save Quill because he realized what real family was and what he was missing in his life. You have the same thing with Rocket Raccoon. Rocket had an origin of coldness. These scientists that created him, but they didn't care about him as a living being, they cared about the experiment. So his origins is nothing but brokenness. So he feels like nothing but like a little piece of trash wandering the universe. And he hates it when he's being called a trash panda, or a raccoon, or a triangular shape-faced monkey. I mean, he hates being called these things because it reminds him of how small he is. But you know what else really scares him? Is real, genuine love from a real, genuine family. Because as soon as he feels that love, it reminds him of the brokenness inside, that hole that he's got inside, and it scares the ever-living snot out of him. So he's got to steal these Harbulary batteries.
That's nothing like what I just said.
Because, well, for no other reason than just to tick them off, to kick them out of his life, so that way he's at least got maybe some measure of control. It's just what that brokenness produced inside of him, that he is testing his limits And he's pushing his friends all the way to the edge so that he can maintain some level of control because of the hurt and brokenness in him. And what needs to be said of Gamora and Nebula? Raised by Thanos and pitted against each other every single day of their lives. Gamora, who just wants to survive, so she's always trying to be the best. Nebula, who just wants a sister and is constantly bested by Gamora, and then she's torn apart with mechanical parts put back in by Thanos, and it is nuts what those two went through, that they just wanted a family, and all they kept finding was more and more brokenness. And then you have Ego. Ego, who came into existence all alone, with no meaning to his life and no meaning to his existence. So when he went out and he found life, he was disappointed by it because he's prideful. He has a freaking huge ego. He is aptly named because he has a freaking huge ego. So being disappointed by life, he decides to give himself a purpose. I will make all life into a direct copy of me. So he visits these worlds as an angel of light. And he plants a little bit of himself in the soil of those worlds. All it is one tiny seed that's like nothing. So who cares, right? Right? Except for when he finally gets a biological kid that carries the celestial gene, and then the powers combined will cause the seed that he's planted to grow and make life in the universe a copy of him. So this is his purpose. He's so lonely, he's so broken, he's so scared of being meaningless, he's so scared of being alone that he's gonna copy all life into himself so he will be everywhere and thus won't be alone.
For the first time in my existence, I am truly not alone!
And in that brokenness, he comes as an angel of light to Quill's mother. And what's fascinating, it feels like something with Rocket. He is so broken that when that mother loves him unconditionally, that love scares him. Because he created this whole purpose for his life, but he will never die and she will, and he truly loves her. So what happens when she dies and he's forsaken his purpose? He's forsaken the expansion. So he goes ahead and takes control himself and kills her, breaking Quill further. And he has the gall then to come to Peter Quill as this angel of light, to woo him the way that Quill just has always wanted a father, the way that Quill's always wanted to play ball with his dad. He takes advantage of that to manipulate Quill and tempt him with the immortality, tempt him with the power of the light, tempting him by showing him what eternity actually looks like. I'm kind of curious myself. He tries to bring him in and tempt him with something that is false. But the reason Quill doesn't go for it is because Quill found family in the Guardians of the Galaxy. With his mother, he remembers having a mother and he remembers family. So because of that family, because of that love, because of that foundation, it impacted him on the inside. So even with all the temptation and all the stuff that Ego was throwing at him, the love of a real family brought healing into his life, and he was able to tell the difference between what is real and what is fake, and he rejected the falsehood that Ego was throwing at him. He rejected it point blank, no matter how good it looked, no matter how great it was, and destroying all life to make it just like Ego is pure evil and pure selfishness, and he knew it because he had the diversity and the unity with the Guardians of the Galaxy. He had the love of that family. And I love it even at the end where you have Rocket and he's crying at Yondu's funeral because the Ravagers forgave Yondu and they showed up and honored Yondu in his death. And just that scene where Rocket is blown away, that kind of touches me because it shows you how a real family and real love and this family receiving him when everybody else failed him brings healing to his life. And so I see that picture of what a real family and real love looks like. We're in a broken world and every single one of us is broken. But where all others have failed us and where we have failed all others, because let's just be honest, others have failed us, but we also fail others. There is God who sees us at our most broken, who sees us at our most disgusting, treacherous, and ugliness. He sees us at our worst and says, you're worth it, and died for you and me. He is that guy that wants to take us and make us family, and he's unbroken and he's perfect, which is so far superior to everything. And he wants to offer us that perfect love. In Proverbs 18:24, it says, one who has unreliable friends soon comes to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. My other favorite is Psalm 27:10. Though my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me. Even when those closest to us fail us, and they will, because everybody is broken and no one is perfect, God, who is perfect and loves us perfectly, will not fail us. He will receive us. His desire is to establish us as his family. He wants to be to us a father. Jesus wants to be that one that sticks to us closer than a brother, closer to us than even our most intimate relationships. And that family and that love will bring healing to the brokenness in our lives and bring healing to the pain in our lives. God is the one who is perfect, sees us at our worst, and loves us so much that he wants to take us and establish us as his family, and he's the one that will never fail us, and he will never let us down, and he will bring that healing into our lives. So when I look at Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, that's what I see. That what a real family is, and how a real family with real love brings healing into the lives of even the most broken. So when you watch Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, what are your thoughts on this movie? Did you like this one? Let's talk about that in the comments. And while you're there, hit the subscribe button to become a Durbanian. Hit the bell by the subscribe button so you're notified for my next theological analysis, movie review, ranking video, trailer reaction, or anything else I do here. I'm Durbin. Oh, yeah, and my Captain Marvel review. Cannot wait for that. I'm Durbin. Thanks for checking out Durbania.